Hello everyone, it's Maha. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm really grateful that you found your way to my channel here. Today, Shiki, my parrot, is sitting right there in the corner. I think you can see him. Hopefully he won't scream, otherwise I'm gonna have to pause the video. So, today's video is one that is very near and dear to my heart. It's a subject that I'm very passionate about. I've always been very deeply and intimately connected to my dream world. And when it comes to tarot, my dreams have helped me tremendously in really getting deep insights into the cards and the meanings of the cards in a very effortless way to questions I had about the images and the cards I didn't understand. Came to me very effortlessly in my dreams that I just couldn't really figure out in my waking life. And almost, my dreams have almost helped me in an experiential way, learning tarot in an experiential way, in that they helped me to connect the symbolism of the images in the cards to my daily experiences in life and to relate them to my waking life and my daily events in my life. And I wanted to make this video also because I didn't really find, and I haven't really come across too much about this topic of tarot and dream work here on YouTube, in the tarot YouTube world. And this is kind of surprising to me because I feel that the tarot is, it's visual, it's about images and symbolism, which basically is the language of dreams. So it's a topic that I haven't really seen too much of. So I thought I would add from my own experience and to just talk about it. And what really instigated this video, actually, in a sort of spontaneous way, was that in the past week or so, I've had really amazing tarot dreams, and I thought, I have to somehow share this. So I wanted to share my dreams, but I thought just instead of just sharing the dreams, I would talk about tarot and dream work and just sort of give some tips, tips that I have found have helped me. And then I also want to share my dreams as sort of examples at the end of this video. So again, this is just my own personal experience, of course, with dreams. I personally don't believe that there is any sort of 1, 2, 3 step approach or a cookie cutter approach to teach people how to remember their dreams, even, or anything with the dream world. The dream world is really a mysterious world, and everybody is just so different. And the way we remember things and the way we remember our dreams are just they vary from person to person. Personally, I find it really interesting to look at the birth chart and to see how people connect to their dream world through astrology. And this is another topic that I'm very excited about learning more in the future about. But yeah, so I don't think really there is any really simple or cookie cutter approach to talking about this, to talking about remembering dreams. But I just want to give some tips about how I feel and what has helped me what has helped me just naturally and intuitively. I've tried to break it down and sort of, think about it, explore it, and just share it with you guys. So I would love to know what you think about this video. If you finish watching it to the end, please give me some feedback. If you can't comment, if you don't have time to comment, just give it a like. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to get more subscribers. It's just feedback for me. If I know that people like this video, I know that they resonated with it, then I know that I'm doing something right, and maybe I'll want to do more of it in the future. So just let me know what you think about this topic. Share what has helped you, and what if you really are doing some of this stuff already naturally, if this is how you work, if you do work with tarot and dream work, if this is what you do, and just anything you want to share. So I basically just want to first talk about some sleep hygiene, which I'm assuming that most people already know this stuff, but I just wanted to quickly go over some sleep hygiene and some tips about remembering dreams and insightful, remember having insightful dreams, and then just talk about working with tarot, and then give you some examples of the dreams I've had recently, which I thought were really illuminating, at least to me personally. So, sleep hygiene, basically. Anything that supports your sleep, that helps the cycle of your sleep, helps the natural sleep pattern. So, the time that you go to bed is really important. For example, you want to go to bed at a decent time, and make sure you get a decent amount of sleep. So, apparently, from what I've heard from my doctors, the optimum sleep is from 11 to 5 a.m. So you want to make sure that if you can, as much as you can, you get some sleep within that time frame, the 11 to 5. That will help with your sleep pattern. And of course, just the general typical things that we know of, which is, not sleeping on a full stomach. I know that ever since I was little, there's a Persian saying that sleeping on a full stomach gives you nightmares. And for me, this actually I found to be true, that if I sleep on I can't be hungry and go to bed, but just kind of a lighter dinner, or maybe just 4 hours after I eat, some time after I eat, it always helps. And I don't drink any herbal teas or any teas in general, because teas are diuretic. So I don't want to disturb my sleep pattern. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and have to go to the washroom. So you want to kind of make sure you time how much you're drinking water before bed. Just all that stuff, making sure you're comfortable, you're in a comfortable space. I think the space is so important. I think surrounding your living space and where you sleep with things that are soothing, things that are supportive for the intuition, like artwork, crystals, anything that takes you in the imagination world, that does really help, because we are always absorbing all the information that we visually see around us. Even if we consciously don't realize it, it's going somewhere subconsciously, it's all going in there. So I think having your place sort of surrounded by plants, beautiful plants, flowers, art, tarot images, things that you enjoy, things that you love, beautiful things that you've maybe kept, sentimental things, crystals, all of that stuff, it really promotes the imagination. It really promotes your subconscious. It impacts your subconscious mind. I don't think it's a coincidence that most of my friends, including my boyfriend, who have ever slept over my place and in the extra bed I have or in my bedroom, they always tell me that they have really amazing dreams. And I started thinking about this more seriously, because I thought, could it be because I have all these images and all this art and all this stuff to look at, that people are actually being influenced by it, subconsciously? There's something to that. I mean, I haven't researched it, but somehow it sounds like it makes sense to me. So yeah, those are some tips. And just clearing the mind from drama or social media sometimes, and I learned this from Chiki over there, I learned that sometimes it takes me an hour just to kind of analyze and go through my day in my mind. It's like my mind needs to kind of go through everything and figure it out or recycle it and think about it before I can actually be ready for sleep. And I've learned, because I used to feel guilty about this, but I've learned not to feel guilty about it and just kind of go with it. If I need to take an hour and a half and just lay in bed, not in bed where I sleep, but just lay somewhere like on the couch or something, because you want to leave your sleeping space for sleeping, not for ruminating and for all that, all kinds of mental chatter. But I think it helps to just take that time. It's helped me to not feel guilty about taking an hour or an hour and a half and just kind of cleansing from the day's events. The mind needs cleansing too, to switch off. Sometimes we feel like, okay, now it's time to sleep, we gotta sleep, 1, 2, 3, turn the lights off, sleep, or like do this, do that, done, it's time to bed. Sometimes it's not like that, and I think naturally our brains just need to take time to be ready for sleep. So it's good to have visual thoughts before bed, but worrying thoughts and just random thoughts and chatter, I think for me, it's helped to sort of work through them mentally and just, be clear about them and then go to sleep. So I take that time to do that. And then social media just gives me anxiety before bed, so I try to stay away from flipping through Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. Sometimes I do that with YouTube, but I've noticed that it takes me longer to fall asleep. So just clearing your head and your mind from drama, social media, and this is not, I'm not talking about looking at things that are visual, because I mean, you might think that Instagram is, but if you can see something that's not gonna, bring any commentary to it, if it's just visual. So for example, sometimes I like to look at flip throughs of tarot, and just without people talking, just flip throughs with music and just look at the images. And I have found that doing that has helped me before bed to have really, really cool, vivid dreams about tarot. Like I would play a video of a flip through and just look at the images, and just I'd be sitting there at like midnight just looking at the images, like just staring, just not thinking, just looking, just looking, just looking, just looking, not thinking, just looking at the images, and I found that those nights when I did that, I had very specific dreams relating to the cards, where I had a little question mark about what I totally didn't totally get, and didn't try to read the comments and see what people are writing. Just kind of thought, interesting. I wonder what that Justice card represents. Okay, next card. Okay, an interesting image. Just kind of letting the mind flow, like effortlessly. That really has helped me. Just a tip also before I get to working with tarot about remembering dreams. Now, this is something I recently came across on a video on lucid dreaming. Came across a lecture of a researcher on dreams who actually said that there's been research on this done, and that this is one of the ways that you can remember your dreams. And I've been doing this ever since I can remember, just intuitively, and I really wouldn't share it here if I didn't listen to this guy talk about how this is actually a technique, apparently, for remembering your dreams, which is really interesting. Touching one hand on top of another, just as you sleep. I've always done this. The way I've always felt most comfortable sleeping, and not a lot of people can do this, but I sleep on my back, and sort of in a corpse position, if you're familiar with yoga. So sort of just like straight, making sure that my neck and chest have a space here, and just resting my hand peacefully either on my belly, so the sacral chakra, second chakra, or just here on my chest on top of each other. Sometimes on my belly I do this sort of just maybe about 2 inches below my navel, just touching my hands on top of each other. And I have personally found that to be so relaxing. Now, again, if you are not someone who can sleep on your back, you're probably going to think, no way, I can't do that. I mean, I sleep on my side or my tummy, I can't do that. And that's fine, whatever you feel comfortable with, but maybe try to see if your hands can touch each other, because apparently that's been researched, that's one of the ways to remember dreams, have dream recall. And I noticed that I do this throughout the night. My hands have to touch each other throughout the night. So even when I'm waking up, because you do sort of wake up every 45 minutes with the REM stage of sleep. So every 45 minutes, I'm sort of touching my hand again, and then I trace back my dream and I go back to the same dream. So those are just some tips. Hopefully those will help. Let me know what you think about them. Now, when it comes to working with tarot, what I found is that during the day, if you can find some time to get into a meditative state, and however that is for you, personally for me, I like to go for a swim. The water is, for me, very, very meditative. It really calms my nervous system. It puts me into like this just really amazing meditative state. Nothing else really comes close to that, but you might find for you, yoga does that, some time with yoga, some time meditating, or going for a long walk in nature. Anything that brings you a deep sense of peace and connects you with, really grounds you, connects you with your own body, it brings you down to earth. Anything can do that. So getting into a meditative state during the day, so not right before sleep, but giving yourself some time to think about some of the things that you're going to be exploring with this practice, is taking the time to go into a meditative state, and then sitting with one of your favorite tarot decks or oracle decks, but in this case we're talking about tarot. Sitting with one of your favorite decks, one of the ones where the imagery really calls to you. For me, I really love dreams that are images that are very layered. So I've been recently working with the Celtic Dragon tarot deck by Lisa Hunt, and I love Lisa Hunt's artwork. I also have her other decks, Shadowscapes, is it? Shapeshifter Tarot. Shadowscapes is actually a really good one for dream work. Shapeshifter Tarot I really like for dream work. Animals Divine, those are all Lisa Hunt. So any deck that allows me to be able to really go into it and to explore. But that might be different for you. Whatever art really resonates with you, whatever art you find makes you go in and not think, just go in. You know, a lot of times people talk about path working. Here I'm not specifically talking about that. I'm just talking about, and maybe that's actually what path working really is in its essence, just breaking down any kind of labels and just sticking with your very meditative state, peaceful state. We're talking about dreams here. So we want to throw away anything that the conscious mind has to say and just explore the imagery with the eyes. Do you remember, if you've been on my channel for a while, you might know, and if not, I have it in my playlist somewhere. I talked about drawing from the right side of the brain. I did a video called, what is it called? Blind contour drawing, where we're not judging, we're just looking, and we're really learning to see, and that's one of the tools that artists use in order to become more fluent at really seeing something as opposed to looking and judging. So here we're doing the same. We're seeing, we're looking, and then going deeper, seeing everything. What are the lines like, the colors? You know, look at it abstractly as well as going in. Like when I say abstractly, I mean look at what's going on in the image. Besides, here is a dragon and there's two people. Besides that, explore with your eyes the roots, the floor. Look at the roots of those trees there. They're so crazy. They're all twisted, and it's going into the dragon's whiskers. It looks like it's all connected. His hand is coming through from those locks of the roots, and then there's these big branches, and oh, look at his wand. There's that interesting dragon on his wand. That's what I mean. Explore with your eyes. Any questions that come up, great. Just let them sit there. Let them sit there. Be curious about them, but don't try to have the answers. Let them just sit there. Just be curious, keep looking, look at the images without referring to the guidebook at this point to try to figure things out, right? Whenever we try to figure things out, that's the whole point. We don't want to do that. We're trying not to figure things out. That's the job of the controlling conscious mind, to try to tell us, okay, what is this? What is this? Am I doing this right? Am I thinking right? Is this what this means? We talk about intuition a lot. So here is intuition at work. Let it work. So just look at the image, just see the image, just see where it takes you. So I guess that could be path working, but I don't want to give it any labels here because I don't want to influence my subconscious mind. I just want to be curious. Just look and see what comes up for you. And just keep doing that, and whenever you think when you're ready with that, when you're done with that, then you can just put it away and go about your day. And not just forget about it without thinking, oh my gosh, like, am I going to have a dream? Like, what's going to happen? Am I going to have a dream about this? Maybe I'll get the answer in my dream. We don't want the mind to get too active and anxious about it. We just want to keep effortlessly asking questions and being curious and not giving up on our dream world. If you're someone who's kind of struggling with remembering dreams and things like that, I can make another video about that later, but That's a very long topic. It's probably going to be a whole series on its own. So that's all I'm going to talk about as far as working with tarot. And then I wanted to share a couple of the dreams I had recently, just to kind of give you an example of how tarot has revealed itself to me in my dreams. So since I was talking about Lisa Hunt and Celtic Dragon Tarot, I'm going to share an experience I had with this deck. Last week, I've been using it since then. I was looking at the Justice card, and I was looking at this image during the day, and it was after swimming when I was in a really meditative state. And I was looking at this image, and I kept thinking about those trees behind the dragon. And I thought, what is this massive forest and all those trees? It's so interesting. Just looking at the trees and looking at the space between the trees, letting my mind go in there. As my eyes went in there, I just explored this forest in the background. And it was one of the images that really struck me from the deck. And then, aw, Chiki's singing, you guys. Yeah. You're good, babe. And so then the next day, I didn't remember my dream specifically in the morning. I remembered other parts of my dream, but then the next day, as I was laying down, then I think it was a couple days later, again, I was in a very meditative state, and I thought, okay, I'm going to read the Celtic Dragon Tarot Guidebook. And I grabbed it, and I came to what it said about this card, and then I was reading where it talked about, now I can't really remember, but started talking about the forest in the background, how it represents the mind and all the thoughts and everything. And then I remembered my dream. It was like, boom, flash, I remembered my dream. I dreamt that I was having a lot of anxiety that week, and so I had these two dreams, this one and the one I'm going to tell you next. I had this dream where I was in this room, and I had to climb a ladder, and then I looked up, and I remember looking at these trees, this dense forest, these trees that were exactly like this card, and I was thinking, how am I going to get through them? And I thought, how did they end up here? This is my house, this is my place of living. And they say the house represents your body, so it was like something was the trees were representing something that was kind of intrusive to my boundaries. And so I'm not gonna interpret my dream here because that's gonna take forever. It's probably gonna take an hour. But I came across this thing in the guidebook, and I remembered my dream, and I remembered what it meant to me. I realized what this image meant to me, and what it was saying to me really resonated with what was written in the guidebook. So, I obviously added that to my diary. I wrote about it, I reflected on it, and that was very insightful. And some of it is personal, so I'm not sharing really too much about the dream and the interpretation of it. And then the next dream I had was about the Nine of Swords. Again, that week I was having a lot of anxiety, and I remember I was in bed, and there were just all these thoughts that I could not handle. It was just too many thoughts going around in my head, and it was driving me crazy, you guys. It was too much, and then somehow I fell asleep, and I dreamt about the Nine of Swords. But the image of the Nine of Swords was not the typical image, or not in any image that I've seen before, but it was just like a new image I've never seen. It was like my imagination created a Nine of Swords for me that I hadn't seen before, and it really made sense. It was like this person, and all these swords were being thrown and coming back to the person at once. So it was like one of those images where you see like the shutter speed is slow and something is moving, so there's all these swords like coming and going from the person and going in and out. And I was really like, I felt like I was inside the card, and I could actually feel what it felt like in the mind being the thoughts. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like the thoughts were being projected and then coming back, and they had no space to go. They were just going there, being thrown and coming back at me. But there were thoughts. The swords were actually thoughts. and they were just going all over. And I realized in my dream that my mind is creating this, it's creating it. So this Nine of Swords, my dream told me, the Nine of Swords is created by your mind. It's self-imposed. These thoughts can be looked at, they can be slowed down, they can be paused. There is really nothing wrong. There's nothing going on. It's just that your mind is creating all this chaos. So that was interesting, and it's really hard to put it in words in such a short amount of time because I don't want to bore you with all the details, but I just had very, very insightful 2 experiences related to my anxiety that I was feeling and related to the Nine of Swords and the Justice card, specifically in the Celtic Dragon Tarot. So I thought that was really interesting, and that, more than interesting, it's just really deeply inspiring. And it made me think about this topic, and I thought, I'm just going to make a spontaneous video about this rather than planning it and putting it into this whole structural series, because that's, let's face it, that's probably not going to get done anytime soon. So I thought that I would put it out there and throw this out there, as a topic that's highly fascinating to me, tarot and dream work, and see what you all think about it. Share your experiences with me, because that's one of the reasons why I make these videos. I make them to connect with you, to share with you, and to hear about what you have to say and to learn from you as well. So I'm going to end it right here because I think it's been almost half an hour, and that's as much as I wanted to talk for tonight, for this evening. And Cheeky has been a very good sport. Thank you so much, Cheeky, for not disturbing me. Can you see him? He's over there. Can you see? Right there. In front of the cup. He just turned around and gave a look. Oh, he's so cute. Anyway, okay, thank you guys for being here. I'm sending you lots of love and many blessings. Thank you so much for your support. Mwah.